mountains and thick forests of eastern Norway to the high seas of XTaKeRuX, and finally the badlands of southern Denmark. Was Fanskier der Mann? Was zum Teufel ist los? Them? Who? It's Pat and Troy! Troy! And we're alive!
Welcome back here, folks, to the corner, episode 5 or 6, or whatever it is by now. I got my good friend here, Troy Trostrup, joining me here from the other side of the world.
Yeah, almost. Just like off by 39,900 or something. I'm only 100 kilometers away, so yeah.
Yeah. So I was saying that computers plus lots of money equals more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I as I told them before, I don't really want to talk about money because, as I told you before, there's not much new to talk about when it's because when you're talking about money, it's always like, yeah, you're gonna invest some money in a stock on Wall Street, and then we're gonna sell it when it's high. We're gonna buy when it's low, and yeah, and that's it. That's it.
That is pretty much how investments work.
Yeah, and that's why I mean, why fucking, I mean, like, yeah, I get the fucking money is important, but I have fucking money in my bank account and I don't need to fucking talk about it. I just need to know it's there so I can live a fucking life and talk about stuff like what food to eat, what food is healthy to eat, what games to play, Red Dead Redemption, or fucking or NASA, the space shuttle launch mission to the moon or to Mars.
This is all basic needs.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we have to talk about the damn fucking numbers that make it possible. No. That's...
Okay.
By the way, this is not going to be a serious corner. If it is going to be a serious corner, I'm refusing to be a part of it. This is going to be a Joe Rogan corner. Like, we just chilling, fucking spewing out our thoughts.
We are just chilling and spewing out our thoughts. I want you to picture this. If you were to put, say your life savings is like $10,000, and you put that 10K into the stock of the Norwegian airline shuttle, right? Of course, that's a huge freaking gamble. But if you win, and it restores the price, and it restores the price, also in 2014, 2015, you all of a sudden made close to $190,000, if not more. No, it's more. You would have made close to $400,000 for those from those 10K.
So?
I mean, so like, wouldn't you feel like if you had done that?
So?
Wouldn't you feel like that was freedom?
Yeah, of course. But why talk about it like it's some big deal, or like fucking like, man, like fucking.
It would have been like freaking winning the lottery, man.
Yeah, I get that. It would be fucking epic. But why the fuck do we need to talk about it? I mean, like, it's just boring, is what it is. It's just numbers talk. It's basically talking about money is basically just like being studying mathematics at university. That's basically what it is. Like, fuck, all you're interested in is, oh my god, 1,000 plus 100,000, that equals 101,000. Wow! And x plus 10 minus 5, that is algebra. Wow! Holy
I want you
shit,
to
man.
think about it in a different way, man. When you're working and you're living, the normal everyday script life, then how much does money fill in your life? It fills a lot, right? It's what you use to pay your mortgage with. It's what you
Yeah,
use
of
to pay your
course.
rent with. It's
Of
what you use to
course.
pay the gas on your car with.
Of
It's what you
course.
use to pay the down payment on your
Of
car with.
course. I don't disagree on any of that. But I don't discuss it. I
Why
don't
not?
fucking
Why
no no
not?
no because I've done that already. Like I have done that with you hundreds and hundreds of times. I've done that with my friends. I've done that with my family. I've done that with everyone. And like it's boring. It's what it is. Like it's
Why is it boring?
because there's nothing new. It's just the same shit. What I would rather want to discuss is some of the great thinkers throughout history. Is like why are we alive, or what games to play if you're not interested in like heavy philosophy like that. Like what games do you want to play? Why do you think that Red Dead Redemption is one of the better games? Why do you
Now I want to
think that
ask you.
that Resident Evil is a supreme game? Like stuff like that. Not fucking money. Who
Now I
cares
want to
about
ask you
money?
again if you were like talking about like great artists and thinkers and so on, like Da
Goethe,
Vinci,
fucking
Da,
Goethe,
Vin-
man.
Da Vinci worked for money, Michelangelo painted for money,
Of course, yeah, yeah,
Mozart
yeah.
played for money.
Yeah, they did. But did they give a shit about it? No. They only Da Vinci
Well,
only thought about what he painted. He did not give a shit about how
yes,
much he was going to earn. No. Fuck
yes,
no.
yes, all
No.
did. They all
Fuck
cared,
no.
man. Michelangelo would
Nah.
never have painted the Sixtine Chapel unless he was fucking paid to do so.
Yeah, of course. But he didn't give a shit about whether he would fucking paint for Michael Bobson in America or Vzoshno Mavrochknonish in Sibirsk in Russia. He would like as
No,
long as he got 10,000 per hour for it, he would have
as long as
painted
he
it for
got
both
paid.
of them because all he cared about was the fucking painting.
Yeah, but he still did it for money. Doesn't make him any less of a prostitute for that.
Yeah, but he didn't talk about it. He works for it. But that's my point, man. People there's a difference between people. There's the people that work for money, and there's the people that are obsessed with it, which are
Oh man,
business peppers, like people like Bobby fucking Axelrod who dress up and who dress up in suits and ties and come show up to some fucking presentation and act like they're big shots because they understand money. But really, it's not that big of a deal because you it doesn't require more than a few years of education to understand it. And
and lots of money.
lots of money. So like it's not that big of a fucking deal and it's boring as hell. And the thing is, the truth is that people like Bobby Axelrod are just fucking nerds. Are just fucking nerds who get obsessed with this shit, and they should not be praised for being money crazed.
But they are being praised.
But they shouldn't.
Being
They
treated like they're
shouldn't.
gods.
They should not be praised like that.
I mean, shit, man. You go into any major magazine and stuff. It doesn't take a long time before you see some fucking article about, look at this billionaire lifestyle and his new yacht and his new motherfucking mansion, like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, who has 11 million mansions around the U.S.
Nah, man. Quite frankly, I think the one who deserves the more praise is someone like Louis Litt, who is just like from their TV show Suits. If
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
knows that show, like who is actually more interested in upholding the law and the I mean, of course, the law and that stuff is a nerdy job too, but like at least he's not interested in money. He's just fucking interested in making justice to people, and that's a whole different kind of passion. That's not a passion that comes from money. That's a passion that comes from the thing that he's interested in, not from the damn fucking money like Bobby Axelrod.
No, that's true. That's true.
So yeah, that's just what I think, man. It's just like, you know,
But I would also just state for the record that in the TV show Suits, Lewis has enough money to retire, even though even though he never specifically say that, he
yeah,
has
yeah,
that because
exactly.
he's
That's the point. That's the point there. He never explicitly says that.
no, he
He
just
is
says
calm. He is maybe he even meditates. I don't fucking know, man. I mean,
uh,
he has his fucking mud showers and that shit. So that's kind of like a meditation right there. But he is calm and content with
yeah.
who he is. He does not need to fucking brag about his
No,
fucking money.
and he doesn't buy luxury sports cars or anything like that to flash his money like Harvey, for instance, does
Yeah,
buying like a '67 Mustang and that car, right?
yeah, yeah.
So like yeah, I have respect for people like that in the real life, and I would hope that I could be just like that if I were ever to get that kind of money.
Yeah, thanks,
That
man.
I wouldn't
Thanks,
go
man.
around
I
flashing.
really appreciate
Yeah,
that because that's
yeah,
like a direct compliment to me because I see myself a little like Louis Litt, in the sense
yeah,
that I'm not money crazy. Of course, there's a lot of other attributes he has where like he's very mean to people and like pulling dirty tricks and stuff like that. Maybe I've done that.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I've done that, but like I'm at least like Louis Licht in the way that I'm not money crazed like him. Or
I
like
wanted
Harvey
to
Specter.
I wanted to outline something there for you because like this is where Norway are totally fucking different. Okay, like in Norway, you can pretty much just go up to anyone in the street and ask how much do you fucking earn a year, and you will get a straight up answer like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the fuck. Yeah,
But that's
like
because you got all that fucking oil up there. I mean, I've heard once that if you distributed all the oil that you guys have, every citizen in Norway could get like 1 million or something like that.
yeah, that's well, it's difficult to say because like you can't predict precisely how much oil is buried under the North Sea.
Yeah, but it's something.
But
It's around 1 million for every
yeah, yeah.
Norwegian
If you
citizen.
if you just count what's in the oil fund, then yeah, that's about 1 million or so a person. But
Yeah.
the thing is that the thing is that has nothing to fucking say because as a citizen in Norway or something like you don't see any of that fucking money in the oil fund anyways, uh, and and you also have a much larger gap between salaries in Norway than in Denmark. Like in Denmark, it's way more equal,
Mm.
right? It's way more fucking equal in the aspect that a dude working in a warehouse and a dude working in an office will, like on average, make about the same, right? It's not
Yeah.
that big of a gap between it, right? But in
Hooray
Norway,
for socialism.
holy
Hooray for
hooray,
socialism.
hooray for socialism there. But in Norway, holy shit, you got some gaps, man.
Yeah.
Because you can be unlucky and you can have a job you're earning I don't know, say $40,000 a year, which ain't a hell of a lot of money in Norway.
Yeah.
Or you can be lucky and you can get a fucking job as a boss in a in a convenience store and earn close to 100 grand a fucking year, right?
Yeah.
You have these insane gaps between salaries. Like some jobs, especially leadership jobs in Norway, pays an outrageous amount of money. Other lower tier jobs like production pays complete shit. So that's what I want to say about that.
Mm,
And also you have the oil industry, the fucking oil industry, where the
yeah.
average pay for a leader or management is fucking $110,000 a year. What the fuck?
Yeah, man. Yeah. but yeah, like that's what I mean. Like when you approach a person in Norway on the street, you can ask them straight out, right? What is your
Yeah.
job? But you can't do that here in Denmark because
No, no, no.
here we do not fucking talk about that shit. I mean, maybe if you because it's fucking boring. That's it. For most people, I think most people in Denmark, I
No,
think, would agree that like unless you're maybe from Copenhagen where people are like a little bit more high nosed,
I
like
I don't think that's the case, man. I think it's more that people are more reserved, and the mentality in Denmark is like, what's private is private, and my salary is private.
nah, man. I think most people do have a sense of like we just don't talk about money that much because it's not that interesting because what is interesting is the people is who's behind this and what can we do to further you to help you get better. That's how we think. We don't think about what that guy's net worth is. Have you ever heard a Danish person say what's your net worth? Oh my god! Like, no, we don't fucking think about that. We think about what? No. Because I'm actually serious right here. We think about like how does that person think, not how much that person is worth. Like that's the mentality in this country. That's what I
I,
believe in. So like
like
I don't
I,
know, man. And that's what I think that should be spread to much more than just Denmark. That should be in the whole world because that's so much more important than how many numbers are showing up in your
I mean,
bank account. What the fuck, man?
like one of my friends in Norway, who's also named Alexander, by the way, is at this party, right?
Yeah,
And he's like seeing a new guy that is going to interact with, socializing and stuff. And what the fuck do you think this guy's icebreaker is? It's, hi, hello, who are you and how much money do you earn? What the fuck?
yeah.
And
Oh my
that's
god.
it,
Oh
man.
wow.
Welcome to Norway, man. And like it's interesting when we're like talking about it, because it has me flashback to when I had a former boss in Norway where I had this exact same conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like that when you get too fucking obsessed with something, you will eventually start forming your own thoughts and your own truth to those thoughts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true,
That you're
true. Yeah.
that you're making up your own truth, and you're believing that, and that's what he did.
Or not just
That's
your
what he
own
did.
truth. Yeah, it can happen that you start believing what they actually tell you because they tell it to you that often, and then you start just like following that.
But eventually, you start seeing a pattern when you get
Mm.
obsessed with it,
I mean, that's
and
how
you're
cults and sects. No,
yeah,
is yeah, cults. That's how cults start.
yeah.
Can you actually say sect? I don't think you can. No.
No, it's a cult in
Yeah, it's a
English.
cult.
Yeah,
Yeah, because in Danish and in German it's called sect. But yeah, and
yeah.
then in English it's just cult. Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy, like how the mind works that way,
Mm.
because the mind works the way that it has to make sense of something, right?
Hmm.
That's where we come in. That the mind will help you get more and more obsessed with something.
Yeah.
Your mind wants to see a logic in that, even though there is no logic in that. And then you start making up these truths of your own truths, even though it's complete bullshit.
Yeah, and now we have actually, and now, dear listeners, we have arrived at one of the quintessential themes that I like to discuss very frequently, which is psychology, which our dear host here has just guided us into in the topic of psychology, which is always interesting because you see, that's much more interesting than what we initially started to talk about, which is money, money, money. Look at this bill. Look at this 100 kroner bill. No, no. The interesting part here is to talk about what happens when a person stumbles over a tree trunk in the park and another guy yells, "Look out, man! I got a gun!" What happens then? They're like, that's an interesting scenario as opposed to, "Hey, dude, I got 100 kroner bill here. You
I
owe
need to
me
get
that. You owe me that." I
I
mean,
need, I need to
I
get
don't
that.
know.
I need to get that repeated. Guy in a park stumbles over a tree.
And it was just my attempt to provide like a story
A guy.
that could reflect
I know. I
something.
want to. I want to know where you were going with that story. A guy in the park stumbles over a tree while hearing another guy yelling, "Look out, man! I got a
Okay,
gun!"
okay. You want the story? You want the
Yeah,
story? Now this is interesting
I
too
want the
because this
story.
is this is not exactly psychology, but this is storytelling, which is also a very interesting topic. But like as it is with always with storytelling, you have to be in the right state of mind, and you have to be in a fantasy state of mind. And I would say after having had 3 glasses of scotch and 2 beers tonight, I am pretty much in that state of mind. So let me continue that story for you right now. So we have the guy who is stumbling over the tree trunk, who was called Stevo. Stevo is a very ordinary guy. He's living an ordinary life. He is just he's working at a carpenter, bringing in money like yeah. Now I'm talking. Look at me talking about money. He's bringing in 20,000 kroners, which is like $3,000 a month. Nothing. Let's not talk about that.
What's up, man? What's up, man? Now we're talking about money again.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I gotta get away from it. So like he's working as a carpenter because he's interested in the trees. He's interested in how the oak smells when he's working it. He is when he's standing there and he is polishing it up with the sandpaper and sanding it for days. He loves that. But one day he went through the park and he stumbled over this tree trunk. And then he heard a voice behind him which said, "Hey, I got a gun, man!" But the thing is, Stevo didn't know this guy. Because the guy was a guy called Luigi Falatoni, who was a member of the Italian mob, who was from Italy. Surprise, surprise. Or more precisely, he was from Sicily. And he came to Denmark because this story is located in Denmark. And he came to Denmark because he was bringing in methamphetamine from Germany over the border. And this was just in the beginning of the Corona crisis, and they were lucky enough to locate a tiny spot across the Danish-German border where they could get across, because they had help from a Polish investigator, like an ex-cop, a Polish ex-cop who was called Bob Slavonovich, who was who was tired of the Germans being all like, no, du musst uns hier behalten, du musst uns helfen, diese Schmuggler in Deutschland zu behalten. Wir können sie nicht nach Dänemark reinlassen, das wäre nicht gut. But then Bob Schlebunowicz was very, very upset with this because the Germans are not going to tell him what to do. I mean, this goes back to the Second World War, where Poland was invaded by Germany. And they're still mad about that. So that's why Bob Schlebunowicz was mad at the German police. That's why he helped our good old, what did I say his name was? Luigi Fallatoni. And this is why editing is the most important thing in storytelling, because you can only make up so much until you need to remember stuff again, and then you need to edit it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm
I
just
don't
gonna leave it here.
I don't even remember what the story was about. Except, like all I got from that story was that there was a dude in Germany who was a smuggler, and some fucking German police or something yelling that wir müssen helfen.
Oh my god. Jeez. Man, I gotta write this story at some point. This sounds like it's actually pretty good.
That's where I got fucking lost.
Oh,
so I gotta listen to this again once it's live, and when I gotta like think like, what the fuck is this story really about? Smuggling corona crisis, smuggling methamphetamine. What the fuck?
Mind you, people listening to this, this was a story that was made up by a guy who is half German, has living in Denmark, and is on 3 glasses of scotch and 2 beers tonight. But nevertheless though, I just made it up. I haven't written this down or anything. I'm just sitting here just drinking my scotch. I haven't done any prior research on this shit. So that needs to be said. I made this up right now.
Okay, Elon.
What? Elon?
Okay, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk? What?
Yeah, because you sounded like Elon Musk for a minute, explaining it.
Yeah. Well, I take that as a compliment. He's a pretty smart guy. So.
Well, like, I don't know. Like when we're getting over to Elon Musk, then I got this question. Like you have the new Tesla Roadster that was supposed to come out in 2020 or 2021 or something, right? I think it was supposed to come out this year, by the way, right?
Oh yeah. I heard about that.
And in order to get that, you had to put down like a $50,000 deposit, just to be on the fucking order list.
Wow.
And then I'm like thinking, why? Because these 50K that you're putting down to be on this order list for this shit, right?
Yeah.
That's nothing more than an interest-free loan for Elon. That you're giving him an interest-free loan of $50,000 that he can pretty much pay back at his choosing when this fucking car is readily and available for you to get. Right? And then I'm asking, why the shit does this guy need a 50K interest-free loan from you? He's a fucking billionaire. right?
Yeah, like,
And it also
but then
makes
again, it's not just him who's owning the company. I mean, there's a lot of people. Look at me talking about money. I don't want to talk about this shit. But
no,
yeah,
but this is interesting though. Also, how the hell is this company Tesla
yeah, but it's
the
because
second
it's because
biggest car company?
it's not just him. Like, sure, he owns the company, but like as it is with most companies, they have multiple investors and multiple people, stakeholders, who have a share in the company. So it's not just Elon Musk, it is a lot of people who are
Sure,
behind this. But yeah, I agree, I totally fucking agree, it is fucking greedy to demand a $50,000 deposit for a
my
fucking car.
and my point is, and it's not this car only. This car, it's also like that Tesla truck that I haven't seen. I haven't seen any Tesla trucks on the E45 lately. Have you?
No, no, no. Haven't.
So like same thing there. And then with this new like Tesla pickup truck that was going to come out too, with this Tesla truck or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
In order to get that, he made like that deposit fee only $100 or $50 or something like that, because 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 a lot more people would be like, oh, what the fuck? It's only like $50 or $100. So yeah, like put me down for a Cybertruck, even though they're not going to get it. They're just like giving $100, $100 to Musk, right? So if a million people did that with their money, being like, what the fuck? It's only $100. Put me down for an order list for Tesla truck, or Tesla Cybertruck, then he's already got $100 million. But
$100 to spend on his rockets to go to Mars. I mean, that would be okay in my opinion.
that's so my point is,
I don't know.
even though that yes, it is not just him that owns Tesla, it's a bunch of other investors and stockholders and shareholders and stuff, but he's still the CEO, and I believe that this guy is a master manipulator of stocks due
Yeah.
to all the shit that he does, and the fate of the Tesla stock right after. It seems fucking planned. No,
Yeah.
I haven't checked
Well,
it.
I can't give you an opinion on that because I'm not, as I said, and as I have stated on multiple occasions in this podcast already, I'm not really that interested in stocks and money and all that shit
I
anymore.
get that.
Uh, but like, the only thing that I know is that because he does promote that in the media, is that he is interested in exploring space, and I don't know. I kind of support that. Gotta admit.
Well, I do too. But the problem is, even he doesn't have enough money to do that.
Nah, that's true.
So he's completely dependent on other billionaires spitting in money into something like that, right?
Yeah,
And the problem, right? I know we're talking about money, but like this time, it's at least money towards a purpose, right?
yeah,
Uh, um, but what's the problem there is that any
well,
fact, any fact,
all money has a purpose. I don't deny that. I'm just saying, like, some money is less worth talking about than other money.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
The point here was simply, that everybody that has the capital to support something like this will want to ask this question. Okay, what are you going to do? How am I going to get the return? How am I going to get the return on my investment? And how long before I see more importantly, how long before I see a return on my investment? Right?
no, no.
He can't give a satisfying answer to that, because he can't tell how long time it will take before they're operational, before they have set up a base colony on Mars, uh, and what kind of minerals that can be mined on Mars and how long time it takes for this to be transported back to Earth, right?
Yeah.
This is something that I reacted to, like, because like, why set your goals as far away as Mars in the first place? You have the moon. You have the moon right there that you can
Yeah.
reach in less than what, less than 48 hours, less than 72 hours with a rocket,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I agree.
Uh,
Like,
and
why not try to colonize the moon first instead of like fucking aiming for Mars? I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
Jesus.
And you have helium free on the moon that sure can be used for something, but they can figure that shit out.
Yeah.
So yeah, they could have started with the moon, which is which is something that you could like which is something that is a lot more doable. Also has the capital to do. Since he has the SpaceX rockets and they can easily get to the moon at least, right?
Yeah.
Because the rockets don't have to pass through uh, a field of radiation and shit, like it will going to Mars.
I mean, heck, they're already. I mean, isn't it SpaceX who is already offering people to go through orbit and get that fucking space flight for like $100,000 for the rich people already? Like
Yep.
where they literally just like take you up in the atmosphere, like a few hundred kilometers from the Earth's atmosphere, and then take you with a rocket for like I think it's like not even more than 10-30 minutes perhaps where they take you up there when there you can there you can experience zero gravity, look at some stars, and then you will be returned to Earth, and that costs like hundred thousands of dollars in rocket fuel and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that's just for the rich people. That's not even the space exploration. That's just amusement park fun. That's just entertainment for
And
fucking Earth's humans.
speaking speaking of that, man, how about this thought? Amusement park on the moon.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be something I could get behind. But this bullshit that they're doing, that they're just like fucking taking random people up in the atmosphere or in the strat or outside of Earth's orbit and just taking them around Earth instead of taking people to the moon. I mean, like, what the fuck, man?
okay. How about this though? How about this? You can book a ticket, one-way ticket with SpaceX to Mars, and sign up for being part of the colonization and stuff
Yeah,
on
but
Mars.
that's still a
And,
way. That's still a lot of years in
and,
the
and
future.
all it will cost you is 200K.
Yeah,
200K
no,
US.
yeah, no, but that's still not something you can do right now. Like the orbit adventures, like
No,
being
like,
transported into orbit. That's something you can already do now for 100K. But to
yeah,
Mars,
I
did they,
wonder if
did
if you were to sign up for this, right? How soon before Elon comes and says, I want that 200K, man. I want that 200K.
it's I hope it's not before like 10 or 20 years because there is as we like there is the moon first that we have, in my opinion, that we have to like at least do something with before we go all the way to Mars.
Yeah.
So like the point is like I just don't think that people should go to Mars yet. At least not before like 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, and like if you had like tried it with the moon first, been able to test it, to test
Yeah.
fucking life in space and colonization and all that stuff, you would be within the reach of help, right? When you're on
Yeah.
Mars, you're sure as shit not in the reach of help from Earth. You're totally on your own.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Because it takes about 2 years to go to Mars and 2 years to get back.
yeah, you're 2 years away from any kind of outside help, so you're relying on yourself completely.
Yeah.
And I had like this funny conversation with my brother-in-law when he was high AF, that where he meant that bro, colonize Mars, then it's gonna be like one of these guys is going to go completely nuts and just kill everybody, and then himself, and then himself, since isolation does that to a man.
Yeah, but he's not even that wrong though. Like, I mean, the people that are isolated do really strange things, and you can see that with the Corona crisis here. Like a lot of people that are quarantined start to behave in very weird ways, myself included. Not saying, not
Also,
saying, not saying that I've had the rush to kill anyone or anything, but like slowly it accumulates, and there happens something in the brain of an isolated person that makes you weird. That makes you strange.
yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah.
and
That
now we're
is,
back to psychology, which is great. But like, yeah, so now we've been talking a lot about Mars and space exploration and shit. But to take things back to Earth now, I think in this podcast right now, um, what have you had tonight to drink?
oh, I had a beer. Haven't gotten anything else.
Yeah, because I am out of whiskey,
That
and
I
you
wanted.
know what they say about that, don't you?
I wanted to ask you something.
Is it
Uh,
more interesting than I'm out of whiskey?
yeah, it was regarding what you said.
Okay.
People does strange things in isolation, like this
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Corona crisis,
You're
right?
still you're still serious. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
and here, look at this picture.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah,
What's that?
here we have a guy who was like part of the protests
Wow, fucking bazooka
in
on his
America
back.
about the Corona crisis. So he goes into a Subway restaurant to order food with a fucking anti-tank missile launcher strapped to his back.
Yeah, that's America, man.
So yeah, man, like where was this? I need to figure out where this was. This was in North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina, this dude walked into a subway with an anti-tank missile launcher, an AT-4,
uh,
and outside this subway, by the way, you have a bunch of people armed with assault rifles and heavy ass machine guns protesting. Like, hey, look at us, we're big tough Americans with big guns. Open up America so we can work again to make money. Hey.
wow, holy shit, man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how far our intelligence has evolved for the thousands of years that we have been in the planet.
But yeah, like that also opens up an interesting discussion point that we had earlier about these people are obviously thinking, and these people are in Germany too. I watched a newscast on that where there's a movement who's like very against this whole lockdown thing. Like they would much more have had it actually that we would just have had it opened completely
Yeah,
without having locked it down. And how many more would have died because of that?
it's a really good question, but I'm not so sure because we have Sweden with like 20 something thousand corona infectos, right? And almost 4,000 deaths. I think they have like 3,700 or so dead.
But consider this for a moment. during the last 200,000 years, the human population has reached 1 billion. It has taken 200,000 years to reach 1 billion. Now, it has only taken 200 years to get from 1 billion to 7 billion. Now the coronavirus hits, and we're dropping like, if we hadn't locked down, we would maybe have just dropped like 50 million or 100 million. But compared to like 6 billion in 200 years, I mean, this is still like nothing. And I'm like, with the big goggles, it like it seems like such a waste to lock down the whole world just to save a few 100 million people. But I mean, I know I sound like a sociopath, but I don't fucking know, man.
700 million people would have been 10% of the world population, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So 70 million people would be 1% of the entire population,
Yeah.
right? Right. So yeah, so 100 million is like barely over 1% of the total human population of the planet. Well, I was going to say that
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much this freaking quarantine is helping, because yes, we have Sweden with 20,000 something cases. Let me just pull that right up now, so we have the correct fucking number, right?
Yeah.
Corona live update from Worldometers. Um, let's see. Let's scroll down to Sweden. Sweden has 32,809 cases and 3,925 deaths. Okay,
Yeah.
but then we have Belarus with even more infectos and only 190 deaths. Now, of course, the question is, how much can we trust the numbers from Belarus? Could it be possible that they're just fucking with us and saying that COVID-19 Corona ain't shit. We got vodka and sauna, so we only have 190 deaths.
Yeah, just like the Chinese. I mean, I bet you the Chinese government is covering up a lot of deaths as well.
So
Uh,
So I would take a country that does
yeah.
not cover up their deaths. Singapore,
Oh.
also 30,426 infected, right? But only 23 deaths. And I will
Hmm.
ask you, do you know why?
Nah, actually, I don't.
Like, I have a theory. Singapore has de facto healthiest population and only has 23 deaths. So if you're looking at it like numbers from health, from what country has the greatest health deaths related to corona in this, we only have 23 due to this. But in Sweden, we have almost 4,000 deaths. Why? Could it be that Sweden has more old people, more people with fragile health, more people with health problems, with severe health problems, and this is the reason why it is spiraling so much in Sweden. Singapore has the world's healthiest population, right?
Hmm.
Because they have almost no old people,
Hmm.
and they are the people in the world that are like standing and walking the most, even more than New Yorkers, by the way. And this is
Okay.
and this is the and they have the world's greatest doctors and healthcare like that, right? So we have like these guys with like the best health in the world, same amount of infected people as Singapore, and only 20. I mean, like same amount of infected people, only 20 people dead, while Sweden has almost 4,000, right? And I'm saying Sweden just have way more old people than Singapore, way more people with health and severe problems that is causing them to die with the aid of corona.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Right? So that's what I think. I think that this whole lockdown and shit is like bullshit anyways,
Yeah.
because it attacks us, right? And it preys on the weak, like we see. Now Singapore has like a shit ton of restrictive rules and done like the amounts of stuff, prevent the infectious disease, right? But it still hasn't really helped that much, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I want to show you a picture here. Let me see if I can
But yeah,
bring
I
that.
agree, man. I agree, man. But I think our conversation has gotten a lot into something that we've already talked about in that earlier podcast, which is the coronavirus. So, like, yeah,
Sure.
I would just want if we could get back on some other topic instead of this bullshit virus all the time. I mean, it's not as bad as money, of course. Of course. It's actually I would rather want to talk about the virus than that fucking money. But yeah,
I
still.
I wanna just elaborate what the fuck we've been talking about for the last whatever time it is. We've been talking about money, capitalism,
No,
virus,
no, no,
lockdown.
no, 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 no. You know, I think you would like my buddy Chris. He calls himself a constitutional capitalist to get it right.
Yeah.
uh, which God forbid, there's nothing wrong about that, but there's a lot of his views that I'm not really that sharing that much. But well, then again, I mean, yeah, I mean that's just political views, and political views are just bullshit. You know, he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy, but some of his views, man, damn, can't get on board with them. Can't get on board with them. Gotta admit, man. Gotta admit that to you guys on YouTube. Cheers! Prost! Prost, motherfucker! Prost!
What kind of views?
Yeah, I should actually read one of his Facebook posts aloud to you guys at some point. But I
Yeah.
think that was my last commentary.
Yeah, we can cut it here. Say thank you to Troy Trostrup here for joining us for this fifth and epic uh, episode of The Corner. Hope y'all to see you next time and subscribe and comment if you like these conversations about two guys hanging out, having a couple of beers, and just talking shit.
And some whiskeys.
And some whiskey, of course. All right,
Oh,
guys.
but by the
Next
way, I have I
time.
have one more interesting thing before we sign off. Uh, did you know, actually, because I researched this today, that whiskey with just a Y is the Canadian, Japanese, and Scottish way to spell it, and with
Yep.
an E and a Y, that's the Irish and American way to spell it. So there's that contrast, if you will, between like that very wide contrast between Irish and Scottish, which actually has spread to the whole world. But I mean that might be a conversation for a whole other episode. But yeah, I just wanted to like get that in there. So um, yeah,
Thank you guys for being here for the fifth episode of The Corner with two guys hanging out, drinking a little bit, and just talking shit. Subscribe if you like and comment if you find this conversation interesting and if you want.
Yeah, as Patty seems to be cutting out toward the end here, I just want to take this opportunity to apologize for all the lag spikes we have had here until now during our conversation. We can and will do better. This episode of The Corner was edited by me, Troy Trestrup. And I would like to say what Patty usually says toward the end here. Peace out, and until next time, folks.